So welcome back. We're here with Anna Tutova, and my first question always is, who is Anna Tutova? Anna Tutova, could you please introduce yourself to our listeners and give us a brief overview of your background and current work as a CEO of Coinstelegram?
Yeah, hello Suno, and hello everybody. Great to be on your podcast here today. So my name is Anna Tutova. I'm originally from Ukraine, and I've been in crypto space since 2017. And I have two companies. One is in the news media space. We have a news website called Coinstelegram. We publish the daily news about the companies and what's happening in the industry. Additionally, it's integrated with Binance and CoinMarketCap. Another our big project is we produced a documentary film about the new era of digital economy and the history and value of Bitcoin. And we just recently made the presentation in Monaco and Cannes Film Festival of our documentary film, and I interviewed many leaders of the crypto industry for it, like CZ, founder of Binance, Justin Sun, founder of Tron, Chas Hoskinson, Cardano, Sandeep Nailwal, Polygon, Sebastian Borges, Sandbox, and many others. So it's one of our, I would say, non-commercial project for like very big future when people maybe will still watch it in 50 years, and we don't know what will be really happening with crypto and blockchain, what type of mass adoption we will see. And as well, we have a YouTube channel, so you can watch as well the light version of our documentary film on our YouTube channel. It's called White Crypto, and we publish as well different interviews, project reviews there too. And we are PR marketing agencies, so we help different tech companies, mostly as well crypto blockchain companies, with the promotion, like with getting companies featured in top media, like Forbes, Entrepreneur, Finance, Yahoo, CoinDesk, and so on. We cooperate with a lot of regional media. We work with influencers, do social media campaigns, so do everything to help projects grow or start off and to share their news. And as well, I do fintech stuff too. I'm partner at fintech company called KYC Pay. We have a marketplace of fintech solutions, and we partner with the banks, payment providers, and law firms. So a lot of crypto companies have challenges with opening of bank accounts in traditional banks because it's high risk. So we help with those type of companies with opening of bank accounts in crypto-friendly banks, as well with crypto fiat on-ramps, off-ramps, enabling merchants to accept crypto, and as well help them with their licensing needs. So basically, that's what I do.
Okay, so you're pretty busy, I think. So thank you very much for making the time to be a guest on our show. So that's great. I think we will dive in a lot of topics here. So, well, you're a prominent figure. You talk with a lot of prominent people in the blockchain space. So what initially made you go into the crypto sector and motivated you to pursue a career in this sector?
So I studied international law at the institute in Ukraine, and my groupmate had internship in law company in Ukraine, which it still deals with crypto and blockchain too. And he was, I think, in intellectual property department. And I think it was beginning of 2017, he mentioned in conversation Bitcoin to me. I didn't know at that time what it is, so I just Googled it, and I became quite interested, and I wanted to invest into it when it cost to $2,000. But unfortunately, I told about that to my parents. They started shouting at me, so I didn't invest. But I read time from time some news about the industry, and as well, I always wanted to invest somewhere. Like there were everywhere advertisement of forex markets and forex education before, and I went maybe to two forex seminars, but they were more trading focused, so I didn't understand anything in that. So I never invested anywhere else besides crypto market. And as well, at the time, I cooperated with one asset management company which traded stocks for the clients on Nasdaq. So I was like account manager and business development manager there. So I was just generally aware about the stock market, but I never invested myself. And then I would say I wanted to do something in crypto, but I didn't put any direct efforts into it. And then somehow it came itself to me. So I knew some guys for other stuff, and they started working later with one ISO startup crypto project. And they invited me in October 2017 for the interview. And since I already had some basic knowledge, we started working together. And first, it was a time of a lot of road shows and etc. So there was idea that I would be like a business development manager. But later I ended up being the PR manager, and that's how I got into PR. And they didn't really have a clear idea what they wanted. It was just like a startup, so everybody that does everything. And so they asked just to make some publications about the project. They didn't explain anything. They didn't know how to do that. I didn't know either. I was just generally always interested in marketing, and I read a lot of books, watched different videos on marketing, went to some marketing conferences, but I wouldn't say that I had really like real practical experience in it. And then I just figured out myself how to do publications in media, and basically that's how it started for me with the PR. And with the crypto as well, when I started working with that company, they showed me how to open my crypto wallet. I think it was Ether wallet first. And as well, back then in 2017, it was still a bit a challenge to buy crypto for fiat from Ukraine. Because I read so many reviews about different exchanges, and for international exchanges, there was no easy on ramp of Ukrainian hryvnia, Ukrainian currency to crypto. So I eventually used Ukrainian exchanges and bought for hryvnia, for Ukrainian currency, some crypto. Mostly it was Ethereum. And Bitcoin was already overpriced, so I bought just a fraction of it. And then the bear market started in 2018, but I didn't understand anything in crypto markets. I first thought that it's just a perfect asset, that it's only always rising and you can never make mistakes. But
Yeah,
now
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
understand that you should follow the cycles. There are corrections, there are bear markets, and etc., which can last for years. But still, I didn't sell anything at the time. I just kept as it is. And actually, I bought quite a lot more crypto Ethereum on the very peak. And then the bear market started. That company closed their office in Ukraine. So I had some kind of break in the industry for half a year. I went just to some conferences in Ukraine, got a couple of connections, and as well later I went to my first international conference. It was on the cruise ship. It was September 2018, and there were like a lot of big speakers, like John McCarthy was there, Brock Pierce, Charlie Lee, Bobby Lee, and many influencers. And I met there my current co-founder of Coins Telegram, and he had this already news media website, and he suggested me to cooperate together. So we started working together, and at that time we had only our own media. We didn't have any PR marketing agency. And then we saw demand as well for many other media, like for full packaging promotion for the companies. And that's when we started as well PR marketing agency. So that's basically how I got seriously involved into the industry. And as well, since that time, I started traveling a lot. So yeah,
Wow, this is
that's
a very interesting journey. So you experienced firsthand how difficult it is to get into crypto. You experienced the bear market. You experienced that you lacked the knowledge, right? So it's something very complex and something new, but you still persisted and even made your job out of it. So very well done. Really, really good. Um, well, clearly you're a woman. I can't deny that. So women empowerment is a very important topic today, right? And it's even Pride Week or Pride Month in internationally now, the month of June. I'm from the Netherlands, and in the Netherlands, diversity and inclusion is a very big thing. We even have legislation that companies need to hire a specific amount of women at the top management functions. But for you, how do you see this as an important topic in the Web3? How do you think that women can play a significant role in shaping the future and driving innovation in the blockchain sector?
I would say I'm not really much into all those genders topics, and like there are many like women empowerment events and etc. But I would say in many countries, when there are equal rights for women and men, there are equal opportunities for both. Like, of course, there are some challenges, but I'm not sure that there are many of those in crypto industry. I think the crypto industry is the most open for anybody. You just need to be driven. You need to want to learn something new, and like all opportunities will be open for you. You can easily. You can be generally in any country. You can be in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in some like developing countries. You can be in El Salvador or something like that, and you can find just the job online. So it's super open, and there are so many possibilities. Um, in terms of the representation of women in some industries, I would say maybe there are some advantages in terms of different approaches to innovation, to decision making, and there is a difference in decision making between man and woman. That women take more time for analysis of this or that situation when they make decision making, and men are usually faster and just guided by surrounding circumstances for the decision making. So I would say the gender different gender representation is good for the industry in terms of decision making in this or that situation, or launch a product or service. And as well, I would say that with the rise of different NFTs, metaverse, and different topics around creator economy, we got a lot of women artists coming into the industry. And as well, it's not only artists from that side, as well, a lot of singers, celebrities, sports stars got as well into NFTs and in crypto, and it's good for mass adoption as well. So I would say I see benefits on that side. And generally, if we talk broadly about the topic of the woman representation in this or that industry, I would say it's not really a problem per se in many countries, as I mentioned. But it just like, of course, in countries like Afghanistan, where women basically don't have any rights, it's a
Yeah,
real
yeah.
problem. But like in Europe, in US, or anywhere else, it more depends on the person and what person wants to do. Of course, it's more difficult probably for women to take not really technical jobs, but be on business development side, so investor relations, marketing, etc. But as well, we see like different universities and there are as well different girls, women who are interested in coding too, and they see as well some opportunities for them.
Okay, that's really nice to hear, because I think, with the technical jobs like coding and smart contracts, or the infrastructure things, if I see it in the Netherlands, there are not many girls wanting to go into a technical job, so the supply of women is limited at that side. And it's good to hear that you observe that there are around the world, around in other countries at least, many more young girls or women interested in having a hardcore technical job. So maybe it's just a matter of time that we can see more CTOs and co-founders being women in a technical startup. So that would be really nice. And I agree with you. The way men take decisions and the way women take decisions are different. Also, the style of management is, of course, different. I think women are more on the relation and more on the consensus, and I think in many cases that is a good thing, especially if you want to have support in your organization for certain decisions. It's better if you feel heard as an employee than it's just top-down commanding structure, right? So that looks promising. Can you share us, because you travel a lot, you speak to a lot of people, you go to many events. Do you have one or maybe two events or conferences that stand out for you in terms of like a memorable or impactful event?
Well, the funniest thing I would say that my favorite conference was in Bahamas, and it was FTX conference.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, besides that FTX fell, the conference was pretty good. It was in the partnership with Salt, with Anthony Scaramucci, Skybridge. And it was maybe only 1,500 people, and there were only all decision makers, the founders, partners of the funds. And I liked it because in different conference, like bigger one, all those key decision makers, key speakers, they wouldn't be so approachable. But at that time, because they were only C-level people, they treated you equally, and they were quite open for communication. At other conferences, those big speakers, they just come, they speak, and they don't have any time to stay at the conference. They just go away. So in that sense, it was good. And I attend many conferences, so I can judge like conferences from different sides. In July 2021, I went to my first developer conference to ECC in Paris, and since that time, I attended quite a lot of developer conferences too. And that's the place where you find technical people, technical talents, and maybe many projects which really have the value, and as well about a lot of good investors too. So I would say those type of conferences are perfect for both from the investor side to find good projects to invest into, because around those conferences are usually hackathons organized too, and as well from the project side, it's the place to find good Taiwan investors. And as well, I can judge some conferences by the location and what good I've seen. Like as well from the project side, I see a lot of good conferences in Asia, like in Korea and Singapore. Those markets are quite active. Hong Kong is now reviving too in terms of regulations as well. European scene, it depends. Like I can see the difference from back in 2019 and now, for example, in France, how many more developments and how startup scene is growing there. And as well, I'm currently in London. I see here the scene more institutional, more for fintech stuff. There is a lot, quite a lot of gaming too. But I would say the side from the asset management, so fintech is much stronger here. And of course, I see US as the capital of innovation, but not unfortunately in terms of regulations because it's quite tough.
Exactly.
And as well, I spent quite a lot of time in UAE and in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi. So I see them one of the most advanced for now in terms of regulations and welcoming crypto companies to set up there. But I would say as well, it's not that easy to get the license like by Vara or ADGM for those from those authoritative bodies. But I would say it's a good scene as well from for asset management, wealth management companies, and big exchanges coming there. From the project side, I would say there is not that much tech talent in the UAE yet, but it's getting somehow better. I would say companies are foreseeing it now as pa- partly part location for their operations, mostly for the events or for getting their presence there because it's good in terms of regulations.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I think it's also wonderful, always wonderful if you go to a conference and the speakers are indeed there to engage, right? So not only do the talk and then move and go away to the next one. I think it's important for us to be approachable, you know, and many people have questions or want to share stories with you. And if you take time for that, I think it really adds value to also you as a project going to a conference. So thank you for that. Let's talk a bit about your company, Coins Telegram. So you're the CEO, and What challenges have you faced while consulting and providing the tech services in the blockchain and cryptocurrency sector? And of course, very interesting, how do you overcome these challenges?
I would say the biggest challenge was when I just started. I started during the bear market, so it was really hard to do anything at that time, and I would say I almost had no income from that for a few months, and then somehow things became better when I became more connected and understood how to talk with the projects and etc. And as well, when we saw demand not only for our own media but for many other media, when we started offering the wider variety of services, that's when our business took off. As for now, it depends. Like now we are in some kind of gain in the bear market. During the bull market, there may be a challenge that you have the influx of so many projects, and you need to make a proper due diligence to find which projects are real and which are not. However, we see it's the same with many smart people, some kind of call it smart money, but still a lot of those investors invested into failed projects like FTX, Luna, and etc. And Zera as well. I see now not that well-known project on the wider scale, but which got as well some good tier one investors or tier two investors, and I see some projects don't deliver what they promised, or for example, because we deal in crypto with the tokens, and they're mostly token offerings, not equity offerings. So projects just can easily change their vesting schedule or redistribute the tokens and etc. And it's another challenge for the both investors and community when somebody dumps the tokens. And as well, we see this with super big projects like Arbitrum 2, like they were supposed to have a voting for the like token sale or some, not really token sale, but for getting token selling tokens to fund their operations, and they didn't wait for the decision of the DAO and just some kind of dump those tokens. So we see such situations with the big players too, unfortunately.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can really do, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, not much influence. And you can, of course, due diligence is very important. And you're absolutely right. When there's a bull market, people are really stumbling over each other, like to get in first, and they tend to forget a bit about being critical during their due diligence, if they have any due diligence. But that goes to, only a certain extent, right? At some point you have to decide, okay, we have to trust this party, and if they then change it later on down the road, yeah, it's difficult. But luckily it's not really something you experience a lot, right? So it's only, I mean, you try to make the point that even the big projects do
Yeah.
behave a bit erratically. Yeah. Cool, good, good, good. Are there, and you don't have to spill the beans or tell us your secret, but are there any particular projects or initiatives in the Web3 space that have caught your attention recently?
I would say I'm quite fascinated about zero knowledge proofs. And like zero knowledge proofs existed for quite a long time. And like for those who are not aware what's that, it's basically when you can prove something without revealing the sensitive data. And for now, many of those projects are still in testnet. Some launched mainnet, and they have been in development for a few years already. Like, for example, one project is Ukrainian ZK Sync, or another project from Israel Starkware, some as well EVM compatible ZK projects like Scroll, for example, and many others earlier. So I'm interested in those type of projects, and I'm interested to see what they will bring in the future, and how it can be implemented maybe by big companies in the future, maybe even banks. Maybe it can be implemented somehow into traditional financial system and into traditional financial operations.
Interesting, interesting. And well, we spoke about the technology a bit. So blockchain technology is often associated with concepts like transparency and decentralization. Our project is 100% decentralized for one. And in your opinion, how can these characteristics of blockchain, like transparency and decentralization, contribute to building trust and fostering innovation in across other sectors?
Yeah, so basically, as for the transparency, everything can be tracked on the blockchain, also transactions, and there are a lot of complaints that crypto may be used for illicit purposes. But basically, you can track everything on the blockchain. You can track from where the funds came and to where they went. So it's as well much easier for the authoritative bodies, for the regulators to track the flow of the funds. Of course, there are as well mixes, but like we see, Tornado Cash is banned now in the US, and somehow it's another question of the privacy. Like even people use crypto not for illicit purposes. They just, for example, donate for charity or something like that, but they just don't want their wallets to be tracked and don't want somebody to easily think how much funds they have on their wallet, so they may use these mixes. So it's a bit of mixed things. So and that's why as well maybe zero knowledge proofs may be useful for those purposes. So basically you can trace everything, and some other projects which I'm fascinated generally about implementation of blockchain as technology, not only a cryptocurrency, but blockchain as technology for supply chain or for fintech. Like big banks have been using blockchain for years already for the settlement, for example. And now as well, some big banks starting discovering DeFi, like JP Morgan. And as well, another thing I'm fascinated about is crypto payments, because it's much easier to pay somebody in crypto, and the transactions are much faster and have lower costs, and you can pay easily into people in other countries just in a matter of seconds or minutes at almost no cost.
Yeah, that's really amazing thing, right? The
Yeah,
only,
and
only
the most important thing as well for the remittances.
yeah, yeah. And do you happen to see projects, in real estate or somewhere that they need an intermediate party that is now replaced by blockchain technology?
I would say from the side of real estate, there are talks about tokenization. There have been some use cases of tokenization of the real estate, but I would say it needs some years of development, because there was almost no secondary market, and as well, I'm not sure about the demand for tokenized real estate, because it as well depends on the demand for this or that real estate object itself. If there is no demand there, like in traditional life, for that real estate object, so why will there be demand for the tokenized fraction of that real estate?
Yeah, that.
But there are as well transactions when real estate, there was made NFT of real estate, and it was just like a timestamp, like a proof that real estate was sold, and the transfer of NFT. That is interesting, but we need to see as well how it will be correlated to the traditional regulations, and how the government, whether the governments will approve that type of authorization or no.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can have a nice technological solution, but if the government says, okay, we're not see it as legal, then you can't do anything with it, right? Yeah. Interesting. Well, the Web3 space is evolving rapidly, and new technologies and platforms are emerging. How do you stay up to date with all the new and latest developments and ensure that you are, as a consulting agency, stay ahead of the competition, or at least be, on par with the innovation?
Yeah, so I attend a lot of conferences. So that's where I meet like key people and get the first-hand information from them, and as well like via news media. So we get a lot of news too. As well, I read some other media too, like both traditional, like Bloomberg, Forbes, CNBC, Fortune, and crypto ones like CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, Decrypt, the blogs which are really research focused. And as well, I would say I'm mostly not really read. I watch a lot of videos and different podcasts too, like different news updates, weekly roll ups, daily roll ups, or something like that. And that's how I try to be up to date.
Okay, and can you recommend a podcast to our listeners?
Yeah, I watch, for example, Bankless
Ah,
podcast,
I know that one.
as well Blockworks podcasts. There are some other channels which I used to follow before, but now not that much. Ivan and Tag before was super active, but then he got involved into his own project. So before it was a good channel for getting being updated with the news. As well some interesting podcasts like Unchained podcast, as well Decrypt, but I would say they're mostly not for the news but probably for the interviews. And for the news, CoinDesk has as well their YouTube channel. Sometimes they publish some news there too.
All right, thank you, thank you. We'll list them later on in the show notes so people can easily read it back. How do you perceive the current landscape of Web3 and cryptocurrency adoption in the Middle East? Are there any unique challenges or opportunities that you believe the region presents for the growth and development of these technologies? And you already mentioned, right? So there is a lack of talented people in the tech stack, but more and more big companies come in there, so that is a bit soft, maybe. So, are there any challenges in that specific region?
I would say from the consumer side, it's the most active region, around $566 billion in transaction volume were made from July 2021 till June 2022, according to chain analysis. And UAE is a place where you can buy easily many things with crypto. You can go and buy real estate with crypto. Before it was like on official level directly from the developers, like MR accepted, I think, only Bitcoin directly for the real estate purchases. Currently, they stop this, but any broker in Dubai, any real estate agency will easily exchange you. Will take your crypto and give you sell you real estate,
Oh,
but
wow.
basically there are just a lot of OTC services in the UAE, and the percentage is like commission is not that high as, for example, you do this in Europe or in US, where it's there are some legal challenges as well with cash operations. So in the UAE, it's super easy, and as well many other services except crypto, like car rental services except crypto. As well, in many restaurants, you can pay with crypto too. So I see the crypto payments is one of the main drivers of the mass adoption. So that is why UAE is quite good place for finding the end consumer, because and many crypto people moved there back in corona times because it was the only open place to be. Another place was Mexico, where there were not really much corona restrictions, and you needed only PCR test to go there. And still, many conferences happened there. And another reason is the tax regime. People prefer to uh, spend their profits in another way rather than paying like 20-40%
Yeah,
to
yeah.
for the taxes to the governments. So yeah, many people moved to UAE for that purposes too. Um, in terms of challenges, maybe because of such good regulations and as well good tax regimes, there are not all good people move there, and there are still a lot of scams there. So that's the challenge, but as well regulatory bodies like try to monitor those scams and be more restrictive to the promotion of those type of companies. And another challenge, yeah, it's of course to attract the talent to the country, and because as well the cost of living there is quite high, so for the startup it will be difficult to run a company there, but there are some funds which launch there, for example hub 71 announced a few months ago 1 billion funds to invest into crypto startups, so they're trying to attract people to come and operate there. And as well, UAE government is quite friendly to metaverse. They have even like metaverse strategy. Yeah, so I see a lot of developments and a lot of proactiveness of the UAE government, and a lot of ministers are quite young. They're like around, on average, probably around 40. So
Oh
they're
wow.
full
Yeah.
of new ideas, and they're quite innovative too.
That sounds promising indeed. If you compare it to America, where when you watch the SEC hearings or the subject matter experts from the several commissions, they're really old people, and sometimes I have the idea that they do not really understand what's going on. So that sounds promising. Of course, the Middle East is, well, it's the Arab culture is different from the Western culture with their stance towards women, right? So not only women rights but women's right. Um, do
I would say they're quite respectful to women,
Okay,
and
okay,
they have even in the government they have many women ministers. And another country is Saudi Arabia, which few years ago women basically didn't have many rights there. Now there are a lot of topics about women empowerment and getting more women like to be entrepreneurs, to be represented like
okay,
as a workforce. And they as well have many women in the government now too, so they're quite open now.
okay. And do you think that can also, is there a correlation with going open to crypto, finding new
I
technology?
I'm not sure that there is correlation at all with that, and I would say Saudi Arabia it's as well big market for crypto in terms of the end users and capital invested from there. But in terms of regulations, they're quite cautious and conservative, and they have some people in the central bank responsible for uh, like some kind of research and virtual assets regime, but I wouldn't say that there will be any crypto regulation soon. I think they will be at least in 2-3 years. So they're as well like watching what US doing and etc. And they try to be cautious with that. So, for example, in Saudi Arabia, crypto is not legalized. It's not banned as well, but just crypto companies can't get the license to operate there. The same, for example, with Pakistan. There is as well a lot of crypto people there, and many people found crypto as a way of additional income. And there are as well different startups there, but it's as well not legalized in Pakistan, and it may be even banned.
Um, well, we're already at the last question, so we always ask, to look into the future, so to grab your crystal ball and try to make some predictions. So looking ahead, what do you envision for the future of the Web3 industry? And what exciting possibilities or advancements do you anticipate in the coming years?
Yeah, so I see now regulation as a big challenge, and maybe shifting focus from the US to Asia and Middle East, where companies are moving, maybe as well to Europe too, like with implementation of MiCA in Europe, and as well the implementation of some crypto-friendly legislation in UK. Maybe some startups will prefer to move to these regions and will be cautious about operating in the US. Another thing, like we will have the next year the halving in 2024. That's the time where we'll see after that probably the influx of many other projects. I'm not sure whether those will be good or not. Like the previous bull market, we saw the trends of DeFi and NFTs. Like not only this year, the next bull market. I think the biggest trends will be zero knowledge through proofs and digital identity, and as well crypto payments. And another thing, big trend I see, the implementation of blockchain and crypto by big players. Implementation of both blockchain as technology and crypto for payments. And I've been in March at Paris Blockchain Week, and like half of the conference was represented by many Web2 companies, which now embrace Web3 somehow. Like Air Baltic was there, Orange, Vodafone, LVMH, many of those companies were there, and they were talking about their experience of implementing blockchain NFTs. Like LVMH launched their own blockchain Aura. They launched it back in 2021, and Aura consortium with some other big brand companies for the use of their own supply chain and the track of the movement of luxury goods and proof um, of the authenticity of this or that item. So I see much more companies looking into Web3 now, and many governments are as well more friendly to Web3. Even now, China released recently their white paper on Web3. Somehow they are not really friendly to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but many Chinese companies and Chinese government have been cooperating with blockchain companies as technology companies, so they as well see that not to miss the train that
Yeah.
way.
Okay. One thing you did not really specifically mention, we are of course a game, and we're a blockchain game, fully on the blockchain, and we have a token as the in-game currency, so you can play our game and earn that currency. Um, what, what is your stance on games on the blockchain?
I see generally it's cool the interoperability of NFTs and that people are enabled now to own gaming items and that they will never go away somewhere unless they're hacked. I think it's cool, but with the adoption, it much more depends on the game. We unfortunately we haven't seen really such a big adoption of blockchain games as traditional Web2 games. It's still not there, but maybe one thing it will be a generational thing. When currently everybody's just adjusted to play Web2 games, and as for Web3 games, the most popular is Axie Infinity and many other play-to-earn games. But I think still people started playing those not for the game itself but for the additional income. Like it became like even life saving in the developing countries, like in Philippines or in Latin America or somewhere else. But some people as well made like the whole guilds and like hired other people to just to play these games, just to own those tokens. And maybe in the future with the development, younger generation wouldn't think much whether it's Web2 or Web3 game. We will see only Web3 games on the market, and everybody will just play those and wouldn't think much about the technology itself.
Yeah. Well, I think you do have a point there. So I think in the future, indeed, people don't even know if it's Web 2 or Web 3. And they're so
Yeah.
used to owning the game items, and being in charge of it. Well, but that's what we aim for, of course, with our project. And we hope to lower the barrier to entry by offering our game for free. So you can play our game without buying an NFT and still earn our token. And we have our own multi-sig wallet. So if you create an account, you have a wallet. So you don't have to go somewhere else to create a wallet. You don't have to go somewhere to buy crypto and send it to your wallet, because these things are pretty complex even
Yeah.
today for a lot of people, especially people outside of the blockchain sector. So we hope to contribute to, well, mass adoption is a big word, but we really hope to contribute to people to show them, hey, it can also be easy and of course be fun to play a game where you can earn tokens. So we came to a natural end of this podcast. So thank you very, very much to create time in your busy schedule. I want to thank you very much for your participation in this podcast, and I wish you all the best in your busy schedule. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you too, and good luck with the development of your game.
Thank you very much.